Hey guys, it's Goosebumps Completionist, and today I'm bringing you another TV episode review from the classic Goosebumps show, and it's the Haunted House game. This is one of my all-time favorite episodes. I cannot stress this enough, how creeped out I am every single time I watch this episode. Ever since I was young, teenager, young adult, and now I'm like almost 27, I'm still terrified when I watch this episode. Something about this episode gives me some Rob Zombie vibes. It's something about the makeup and the look of the makeup. It looks like it could have been like House of a Thousand Corpses style of stuff. Also, it has very Stephen King vibes within this, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it because it kind of blends other types of horror outside of Goosebumps that I like Stephen King, and it also blends in Rob Zombie, which I'm also another massive fan of. And the fact that it had that atmosphere in a Goosebumps episode is why it's one of my favorites. It's just very standout. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, let's get into the plot of this thing. Okay, so it starts off with this boy and this girl, Jonathan and Nadine. They're two friends, and they're walking down the sidewalk, and they see this little girl crying. She's wearing like this really like dollhouse-esque dress with some pigtails. She's crying that she lost her cat, and the cat apparently went inside of this creepy old abandoned haunted looking house. And Jonathan, he's like, we're late for pep rally. We don't have time for this. And Nadine, she's kind of the sweet girl type. She's like, okay, we'll go help you find your cat. So she says, come on, Jonathan, let's go get the cat for her. And he goes, all right, let's make it quick. And they go in the house, and Jonathan, being scared, he loses track of where Nadine went. And off the bat, this house just looks absolutely terrifying. If this was something I walked into in real life, I would totally just run. I would probably creep the door open and say, nah, I'm good, and peace. But these kids went in the house. Jonathan ends up finding Nadine, and they stumble across this board game. Now, this board game, to kind of put it into perspective, if you've ever watched the movies Zathura or Jumanji, it has those type of vibes in this episode. Like, this is such a conglomerate of a bunch of different pop culture creators and other movies of similar subject matter. But this is just condensed into a 20 to 21 minute episode. But they open the box to this game, and it says, the first mistake you made is opening the box. And when they read that, they get sucked into this alternate dimension type of scenario where they're playing this real life board game. Now, I'm going to say this. This episode has some of the scariest scenes that are outside of body horror I have ever seen in Goosebumps. I kid you not. Oh, good. I mean, the first thing you learn is that they have to roll these dice. They get these dice, and there's a rule saying if you roll a lucky 7, anything goes. So they start rolling these dice, and they land on parts of the board that takes them into this other, like, pocket dimension within the dimension. It takes them to, like, another room, and there's a scene involving this man in a casket. It's going to scare the mess out of you if you see that. And then they pick up the item they need to go throughout the board game each time they roll. So there's an item you have to pick up. So after escaping that creepy scene with the casket, they get back to the board game. They roll the dice again. And now they're in this scene trying to get another item. And then they encounter this absolutely terrifying fisherman guy. It's nightmare inducing. It's pure nightmare fuel, what you're going to see in that scene. And I still get nightmares today from it, truthfully. They get themselves out of that, and then they roll, they get their item, they go back to the board, they roll again, and then they end up in this room, these two really creepy old women that, I mean, you have to watch it to understand what I'm saying, but it gives me the creeps just thinking about it. Ugh. It's like rotting teeth, like they're like old, like grown up. They're dressed up like little girls, except they're old women with like rotted teeth and like bloodshot yellow eyes. It's absolutely terrifying. And then, of course, they get themselves out of that scenario. And then they get to this quote-unquote end of the board game where they encounter these two other kids that happen to make it through the game, and now they're trying to figure out how to get out of the house. And then, of course, there's a realization that comes near the end. There's this huge revelation that these kids aren't who they say they are, and Jonathan and Nadine are freaked out by this, and you will be too if you watch this. And then the ending leaves you on a very scary note with the girl outside with the missing cat looking into the camera, right into your soul, giving you a devilish smirk. And that's where it ends. So, alright, so, yeah, this episode is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's definitely top 10 for me. There's so many standout scenes in this episode. Like I said, the casket scene, the fisherman scene, the old ladies dressed up like little girls scene with the rotting teeth. Oh, this is just one of those visually stunning and terrifying episodes at the same time. Now, I will say, it does have some negatives, but it's not like damaging to the overall grade. This is still a well above average episode. This is going to get a 4.5 or higher. The acting was okay. I will say the guy, Jonathan, he's not the best actor, and he's going to kind of bring down the points a little. But Nadine, we've seen her in a couple of episodes. Like, she's also in the Deep Trouble episode. She's not a bad actress. I'm not saying that her performance in Deep Trouble was bad. I think it was actually good. Just the episode overall was bad. Her performance in this was pretty good. Pretty on par to her Deep Trouble performance. So I have no complaints with that. And they're basically the only two characters you have to care about. So when it comes to the negatives, obviously the guy who played Jonathan, he has that annoying voice, and he's kind of like shouting all the time. So that's going to get a little bit deducted there, but not that much. And just the overall campiness, it's campy, but it works very well. It works splendidly well. But I can't ignore how kind of campy it comes off. So getting into the rating from 0 to 5 stars, for the campiness and Jonathan, the actor who played Jonathan, combined, I deducted 0.3 off. My realistic grade, I want to give this as a perfect 5. But I'm going to be honest, I think this is a 4.7 out of 5. I think this is a very exceptional episode. Definitely it's very close to being the best short story adaptation episode they did in the show. Very well done episode. So yeah, 4.7 out of 5 for the Haunted House game. So let me know what you guys thought about the Haunted House game, the TV episode. Did you love it or did you hate it? I'm dying to know in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.